The Galactic Council was an institution built on centuries of diplomacy, power, and control. An alliance of the most powerful and ancient species in the galaxy, it had maintained order across countless worlds, quelling rebellions, enforcing peace, and ensuring that no single species could ever disrupt the balance they had so carefully constructed. To the Council, power was the foundation of the universe. But even within their ranks, there was an unspoken rule: never underestimate humanity. Humans, a species barely over a few centuries old in the grand scale of galactic history, had become a focal point of concern. Despite their relatively recent emergence on the galactic stage, humans had already made a name for themselves: unpredictable, chaotic, and, to the Galactic Council's growing anxiety, dangerous. Unlike the species that populated the Council, humans did not believe in diplomacy for diplomacy's sake. They did not hold their tongues in the face of greater power. They were quick to resort to violence, aggression, and sometimes, absolute destruction. In every encounter with other species, humans defied expectations. They were wild. The Council had watched humanity for years, growing increasingly uncomfortable with their rapid expansion. As the human population grew and spread across distant stars, their methods of handling conflict became more reckless. They often solved their problems by brute force, unwilling to abide by the carefully established rules of the galaxy. And worse, they showed an uncanny ability to survive, even thrive, against overwhelming odds. The Council understood the importance of maintaining peace, but humans seemed to view peace as a temporary arrangement, one that could be torn apart when convenient. The Council was determined to rein them in before humanity's tendency for chaos became a true threat. The most immediate problem, however, was the colony on Zeta 9. A small, remote planet in the Outer Rim, Zeta 9 had once been a peaceful settlement under the Council's supervision. But that peace was shattered when the humans on Zeta 9 rebelled. They declared their independence, rejecting the Council's rule, and refused to abide by the Council's laws. Worse, they began openly defying the galactic authorities, and reports of violence and resistance mounted as the human settlers fought back against every attempt to reassert control. The Galactic Council had been prepared for such a rebellion. It had seen countless uprisings before. But this was different. The humans on Zeta 9 weren't merely resisting, they were winning. They had forced the Council's first few peacekeeping forces to retreat, and their methods of warfare were unlike anything the Council had ever encountered. It was clear that this small group of humans had no regard for the usual rules of engagement. The rebellion wasn't just about territory or resources. It was about freedom, and it was this ideological resistance that the Council found so deeply unsettling. To handle the situation, the Council turned to the Rolorians, one of the most feared species in the galaxy. Known for their extraordinary psychic abilities, the Rolorians could manipulate emotions, control thoughts, and bend the will of nearly any species they encountered. The Council's logic was simple: if the humans could be controlled emotionally, if their spirit could be broken, their rebellion would be over. The Rolorians were the perfect choice for the task. The Rolorians had never failed to bring a species to heel. They were masters of manipulation, able to subjugate entire civilizations with their psychic powers. They were calm, calculating, and without mercy. To them, humans were little more than unpredictable children, easily influenced, easily controlled. The Rolorians, with their ability to control minds and emotions, would easily break the human colony on Zeta 9. At least, that was what the Council thought. But as the Rolorians began their psychic campaign to suppress the human rebellion, something unexpected happened. They encountered resistance, not the typical kind, not from a species bracing against physical combat, but something far more dangerous: human emotion. The Rolorians had assumed that humans, like all other species they had encountered, would crumble under the weight of their psychic pressure. They had not anticipated the strength of human will, nor the ferocity of their emotions. From the moment the Rolorians began to implant their psychic commands, they realized the scale of their mistake. The humans did not cower. Instead, they fought back. They did not possess psychic powers of their own, but what they did have was something far more dangerous: rage. The humans' emotions surged to the surface in a way that no other species could replicate. The Rolorians tried to control the humans' fear, to feed their despair, but all they met was a tidal wave of defiance. The Rolorians, unable to contain the powerful emotions of their targets, began to panic. It was unlike anything they had experienced. Where others might have faltered under psychic attack, humanity seemed to thrive. The more the Rolorians pressed, the more the humans resisted. The rebellion, which had once seemed like a small problem, was growing into a far more dangerous threat. The humans were not only surviving, they were actively pushing back with an intensity that was difficult to understand. It wasn't just that they were physically resistant, it was their spirit. The humans' ability to resist, to keep fighting even when the odds were hopeless, was a force that defied logic and reason. The Rolorians found themselves outmatched in ways they had not anticipated. In their desperation, they escalated their tactics. They began using more direct mental attacks, forcing humans to experience their greatest fears, dredging up their darkest memories. But the humans did something the Rolorians had never witnessed before. They harnessed their fear, transformed it into strength. Instead of breaking, they turned their darkest emotions into fuel for their resistance. Humanity did not fear hell, they had learned to create it. It quickly became clear to the Rolorians that the rebellion was no longer something they could simply control. The humans were unpredictable, volatile, and more resilient than they could have ever imagined. They had underestimated humanity, and in doing so, they had awakened something far more dangerous than they had bargained for. As the Rolorians pulled back, stunned by the unexpected strength of their foes, a new reality began to set in. The humans, the very species the Galactic Council had once dismissed as a mere nuisance, had become an unstoppable force. The Rolorians knew one thing for certain: if they did not contain this rebellion, it would spread beyond Zeta 9, and the entire galaxy could find itself facing a new and terrifying power. The Council had once thought that humanity could be controlled. But the events on Zeta 9 had proven one irrefutable truth: humans would not be ruled, they would fight back. They would survive. And perhaps most terrifying of all, they would eventually conquer. The Rolorians, reeling from their initial failure, began to reassess the situation with growing urgency. Their psychic powers had always been their greatest strength, yet against the humans, they had proven ineffective. They could manipulate emotions, create illusions, and break the will of lesser species, but humanity was different. Unlike any other species they had encountered, humans resisted not just physically but emotionally. Their rage, fear, and defiance were not weaknesses to be exploited but forces that fought back with an intensity that was almost terrifying. It was as if the very essence of their being fought against the Rolorians' attempts to control them. As the Rolorians retreated and regrouped, they quickly realized that their previous approach had been a catastrophic miscalculation. They had tried to bend the humans to their will using mental manipulation, but they had underestimated one crucial factor: the depth of human emotion. Other species could be cowed by fear or pacified by manipulation, but humans were different. They did not simply suffer under pressure, they fought back. Their emotions were not just reactive, they were active, dynamic, and unpredictable. For the first time in their long history, the Rolorians were facing an enemy they could not simply control with their powers. The humans, however, had no such doubts. The colony on Zeta 9, once fragmented and disorganized, was now united by a common cause: to fight back against the Galactic Council and its enforcers. The humans' survival instinct, their ability to adapt and thrive in the face of adversity, had propelled them into full-blown resistance. And as each day passed, their rebellion became more coordinated, more dangerous, and more relentless. The humans were learning quickly, too quickly for the Rolorians' comfort. The rebellion's leader, a former diplomat who had once been an integral part of the Galactic Council, had quickly emerged as the figurehead of the resistance. This diplomat, whose name was known only to a select few, had once been an advocate for peace and unity among the galactic species. He had been part of the diplomatic corps, working tirelessly to uphold the Council's laws and broker peace treaties. But when he had uncovered the darker secrets of the Council, he had turned against them, joining the very species they sought to control. He had learned of a disturbing truth: the special place in hell the Council had created, a prison for those too dangerous or unpredictable to be left free. The Council feared humanity more than they were willing to admit. And in their fear, they had devised a hidden prison, an ancient and forgotten facility, where they could confine the most dangerous individuals in the galaxy. The diplomat had learned of this place and realized that the humans might be the only ones capable of breaking it open. This secret knowledge gave the rebellion an edge. The human leader had begun rallying his forces, not just to fight against the Council, but to uncover this hidden prison and use its power to their advantage. The humans, with their unpredictable nature and unwillingness to follow rules, were the perfect candidates to release the prisoners contained within the special place in hell. Meanwhile, the Relorians had begun to regroup, sending in reinforcements to suppress the growing rebellion. The Council had recognized that the situation on Zeta 9 was becoming more than just a small uprising; it was a threat to the stability of the entire galaxy. The Relorians' failure was a blow to their authority, but they were not ones to admit defeat easily. They sent their most skilled warriors to Zeta 9, believing that overwhelming force would break the human resistance once and for all. These reinforcements were among the deadliest warriors in the galaxy. Trained in combat and psychic warfare, they had been handpicked for their ability to neutralize any threat. The Relorians, with their psychic powers, would lead the charge, directing the warriors to subdue the human rebellion. The strategy was clear: use their superior numbers, advanced technology, and psychic prowess to crush the resistance before it could spread further. But as they prepared to strike, they were unaware of the humans' hidden weapon: their ability to adapt. The rebellion, under the leadership of the former diplomat, had already begun to change the rules of warfare. The humans had learned to fight with unconventional tactics, using their resourcefulness to overcome the superior technology and forces of the Relorians. They had tapped into their anger, their fear, and their frustration, not just as emotional states, but as powerful weapons. The humans had no psychic abilities, but they had something far more dangerous: a deep well of emotional energy that they could wield in ways the Relorians could not anticipate. The first wave of Relorian reinforcements hit the human stronghold with devastating force, but the humans were ready. They fought back with a ferocity that shook the Relorians to their core. The humans used guerrilla tactics, hiding in the terrain, setting traps, and using their surroundings to their advantage. Every time the Relorians thought they had cornered the resistance, they found themselves walking into a trap. The humans were unpredictable, and the Relorians' superior numbers began to work against them. The resistance had the advantage of knowing the terrain, and they used it to great effect. But the Relorians were not easily defeated. They pressed the attack, using their psychic abilities to manipulate the humans' emotions, trying to sow doubt and fear among them. Yet every attempt to break the human spirit failed. The humans had faced worse before: war, famine, and disease, and each time, they had found a way to survive. They had been forged by adversity, and they were not about to bend to the will of their oppressors. As the battle raged on, the humans began to realize something they had not before: the power of unity. The rebellion was no longer just a scattered resistance movement. It was a force, a collective entity, made stronger by their shared goal. They fought not just for their survival, but for something more: freedom. They fought for the right to make their own decisions, to live without the overbearing hand of the Galactic Council controlling their every move. The humans began to coalesce around the idea that their strength did not lie in individual victories or superior tactics, but in their shared spirit. They were not merely defending themselves, they were sending a message to the galaxy: humans would not be ruled. The Relorians, meanwhile, were becoming increasingly frustrated. They had underestimated the humans, believing them to be a species they could easily control with their psychic powers. But now, faced with an enemy that not only refused to bend but fought back with a strength they had never encountered before, the Relorians realized that this was no longer just a battle for Zeta 9. It was a battle for control of the galaxy itself. And the humans, with their defiance, were proving one thing: they were not just survivors, they were conquerors. They had unlocked a force that the Relorians could not control: the power of human will. The battle was far from over, but one thing was clear: the humans were not going to back down. They had already made their mark on the galaxy, and the Rolorians, for all their power, could no longer deny it. The humans had become a force to be reckoned with. And now, it was time for the galaxy to reckon with them. As the war on Zeta 9 raged on, the Galactic Council grew more anxious. The humans, once seen as a nuisance, were proving themselves to be a force of unparalleled resilience. Each attempt to break their resistance failed, and with each failed attempt, the humans' defiance only grew stronger. The Rolorians, powerful though they were, had underestimated the depth of human spirit and their unyielding nature. The rebellion on Zeta 9 was no longer just about a group of insurgents, it had become a symbol of humanity's refusal to be controlled. And as the rebellion spread, the Council knew that if they didn't act soon, the humans could spread this defiance to the farthest corners of the galaxy. The Council convened in secrecy, meeting with their most trusted advisors, strategists, and generals. They realized that Zeta 9 could not be allowed to become a rallying point for further uprisings. If humanity was allowed to claim victory on that planet, it would embolden them, and their rebellion would spread like wildfire. The Council needed to crush this rebellion, and they needed to do it quickly. But to do so, they had to acknowledge a terrifying truth: humans were unlike any species they had ever encountered. With no clear solution in sight, the Council decided to escalate the conflict. They sent in their most dangerous weapon, an elite squadron of galactic mercenaries, composed of some of the deadliest beings in the universe. These mercenaries had been hired by the Council for one sole purpose: to exterminate the human resistance on Zeta 9. They were equipped with the latest technology, including advanced armor, weapons, and battle tactics that had been proven effective against even the most formidable species in the galaxy. But as the mercenaries descended upon Zeta 9, the humans were more prepared than ever. The rebel forces, under the leadership of their enigmatic diplomat, had been fortifying their position, learning from each encounter, adapting, and improving. The humans had studied their enemies' tactics and technologies, and they had devised their own methods to counter them. What the Council and the mercenaries failed to understand was that the humans' true strength lay not in their weapons, but in their ability to adapt and think outside the box. They didn't fight according to the rules of warfare, they made their own rules star. The first encounter between the humans and the mercenaries was nothing short of brutal. The mercenaries, confident in their superior technology and tactics, expected an easy victory. But the humans surprised them. Instead of engaging in direct combat, they used hit-and-run tactics, laying traps and using the terrain to their advantage. The mercenaries, though highly trained, were unprepared for this kind of warfare. The humans' unpredictability made them difficult to track, and their guerrilla tactics wore down the mercenaries over time. The diplomat, once a key member of the Galactic Council's diplomatic corps, was now playing a dangerous game of strategy and deception. He had learned of a secret the Council had tried to bury: a prison, hidden away on a forgotten world, meant to hold the most dangerous entities in the galaxy. This prison, known only to a few, was a place where the Council kept those they feared, beings with the potential to destabilize the entire galaxy. The diplomat had discovered that the Council had created this prison specifically for humanity, fearing the potential that humans held to upset the delicate balance of power. This knowledge gave the diplomat an edge. He had known that the humans could never be truly subjugated, not by the Council's rules, not by their laws, and not by their military might. Instead, he realized that the only way to truly break the Council's control was to use their own fear against them. If humanity could gain access to this prison, they could release the dangerous entities held within and use them to strike fear into the hearts of the Council. This was not just a rebellion, it was a revolution, a challenge to the very structure of the galaxy. The diplomat had begun to rally the humans around this cause. They weren't just fighting for freedom, they were fighting for control. Control over their destiny, control over their place in the galaxy. The idea of accessing this special place in hell was no longer just a way to fight back, it was a way to make the Galactic Council acknowledge humanity's power. By breaking open the prison, the humans could show the galaxy that they were not simply survivors, they were conquerors. With this new strategy in mind, the human forces launched a series of daring raids against the Council's strongholds, searching for any clues that might lead them to the location of the prison. These raids were not only about gathering intelligence, they were about sending a message to the galaxy. The humans were coming for the Council, and they would stop at nothing to bring about their own revolution. But as the humans drew closer to the prison's location, they encountered unexpected resistance. The Council, aware that the humans were closing in on their secret, had begun to deploy even more powerful forces to protect the prison. The Rolorians, though still reeling from their earlier defeat, were now more determined than ever to stop the human advance. They used their psychic abilities to manipulate the minds of the humans, trying to sow confusion and fear among the ranks of the rebellion. But once again, they underestimated the humans. Instead of succumbing to their psychic influence, the humans used their emotions to fight back. The closer the humans got to the prison, the more dangerous their mission became. The forces guarding the prison were among the most powerful and well-equipped in the galaxy. They were prepared for every possible attack, every conceivable strategy. But they had not accounted for one thing: human ingenuity. The humans, once considered to be impulsive and reckless, had turned their greatest weaknesses into their most powerful weapons. They did not simply follow the rules of war, they created their own. The diplomat, now fully in control of the rebellion, had come to a terrifying realization: the war on Zeta 9 was not just about winning the planet back, it was about sending a message to the entire galaxy. The humans, though they had been seen as a species that could be easily controlled, were now proving that they could reshape the very fabric of the galaxy. They had taken the Council's most powerful forces to the brink of defeat, and now they were preparing to take on the one thing the Council had feared the most: the creatures locked away in this special place in hell. The stage was set for a final showdown, not just for Zeta 9, but for the very future of humanity in the galaxy. The diplomat, with his knowledge of the Council's darkest secrets, had become the leader of a movement that could change the course of galactic history. The humans were no longer simply fighting for survival. They were fighting to prove that they were a force to be reckoned with, a species that could no longer be ignored, no longer be controlled. And in the end, they would prove that, when pushed to the limit, humans did not fear hell, they created it. As the final stages of the battle on Zeta 9 unfolded, humanity's resolve had reached its peak. The Council had underestimated the power of human unity and defiance, and now they were about to witness the consequences of their miscalculations. The diplomat, once a key member of the Galactic Council, now stood at the helm of a revolution that was poised to change the balance of power in the galaxy. With the knowledge of the secret prison, the special place in hell, he had become the pivotal figure in a war that wasn't just about survival, it was about rewriting the very rules of the galaxy. The human forces, bolstered by their relentless drive, had reached the final barrier, the prison's location, hidden deep in the heart of a desolate and uncharted region of space. The humans had fought tooth and nail to get here, using every strategy, every weapon, and every ounce of their ingenuity. But now, as they stood on the precipice of the greatest unknown they had ever faced, the true scope of their mission became clear. Breaking into this prison wasn't just a tactical maneuver, it was humanity's declaration that they would not be bound by anyone, least of all the Galactic Council. The forces guarding the prison, a mix of Council elites, mercenaries, and highly trained warriors, had been preparing for this moment. They were ready for anything the humans could throw at them, every conceivable attack had been anticipated. But what they had failed to anticipate was the very essence of what made humanity dangerous: their ability to adapt, to think outside of the rigid frameworks that governed other species. The humans did not just fight to win, they fought to change the nature of the fight itself. With each passing day, the resistance had grown bolder, pushing forward with unmatched determination. The diplomat, understanding that this was their last chance to show the galaxy humanity's true power, began to make the final moves to bring the rebellion to its climax. In the shadows of this final push, there was a strategy forming that no one, especially the Council, had seen coming. The diplomat had, for months, been studying the prison's defenses, using his knowledge of the Council's inner workings to exploit every weakness. What he had discovered was something truly extraordinary. The prison was not just a holding facility for dangerous beings, it was a weapon in itself, a tool created by the Council to contain powers they couldn't control, beings who had the potential to rip apart the very fabric of the galaxy. But what the Council hadn't considered was the fact that humans could be the ones to harness that power. Through careful planning and precision, the humans had devised a way to break into the prison and, more importantly, use its contents to strike back at the Council. As they reached the outer defenses of the facility, they found the guards more formidable than ever. But as they fought through wave after wave of opposition, the humans' understanding of their enemies' tactics and weaknesses became their greatest asset. The Council had relied on its superiority, its advanced technology, and its psychic powers. But the humans had found a way to use their own strengths against them. The rebel forces, now led by the diplomat, had split into smaller teams, each with a specific task. Some focused on breaching the prison's outer defenses, while others worked to extract crucial information about the beings held within. The strategy was simple: divide and conquer. The diplomat had known that time was running out. The Council would soon be aware of the breach, and the only way to succeed was to move quickly, decisively, and without hesitation. As the humans pressed forward, they encountered the first of the prison's defenses, an enormous energy shield designed to repel any physical attack. The shield was impenetrable, or so the Council had thought. But the humans, with their never-ending resourcefulness, had anticipated this. Using a combination of old-fashioned technology and newly developed tactics, they created a feedback loop that short-circuited the energy shield, allowing them to breach the first layer of the prison. The further they ventured, the more they realized the scale of the danger within. The prisoners held in this special place in hell were not mere criminals. They were ancient, cosmic entities whose power defied comprehension. Beings whose very existence could reshape the galaxy in their image. The diplomat had learned that the Council had created this prison not only to contain these dangerous entities but to control them, to keep them from ever escaping and threatening the stability of the galaxy. The humans, however, were not here to control, they were here to unleash. The deeper they went, the more the humans could feel the weight of the situation. They had entered a realm of unimaginable power, and it was becoming increasingly clear that what they were about to do would have far-reaching consequences. As they reached the inner sanctum of the prison, the final barrier lay before them, a massive containment chamber that held the galaxy's most dangerous prisoners. The diplomat, using the knowledge he had gained during his time within the Galactic Council, began to override the security systems. One by one, the containment cells began to unlock, and the ancient beings inside stirred to life. The humans had crossed a line, one they could never uncross. The beings they had released were not just prisoners, they were living weapons, each with the potential to reshape the galaxy according to their whims. But instead of chaos, there was something else, order. The released entities, sensing humanity's presence, did not immediately turn on their liberators. Instead, they acknowledged the humans in a way no one had expected. These beings, ancient and powerful beyond comprehension, understood what the humans had done. They recognized that these people, these rebellious mortals, had done what no other species had ever dared, they had challenged the gods themselves. And in that recognition, the humans saw an unexpected twist of fate. The beings, far from attacking, were willing to join forces with the humans. The prisoners, seeing the humans as not just survivors but as powerful equals, chose to fight alongside them. Together, the humans and these ancient beings began to reshape the very fabric of the galaxy, starting with the Galactic Council. In a final confrontation, the humans, empowered by their newfound allies, began to strike at the heart of the Council. The diplomat, once a mere representative, had now become the leader of a revolution that shook the galaxy to its core. The humans, with their ability to adapt, their resilience, and their refusal to be controlled, had proven that they were more than just a species, they were a force of nature. As the battle reached its peak, the diplomat delivered the final blow to the Council's leadership. The Council, realizing that they could no longer control humanity or their new allies, was forced to concede. The galaxy was no longer under the control of the elite few, it was now in the hands of those who had been underestimated from the beginning. The humans had won, but they didn't just win a war, they changed the galaxy forever. This special place in hell was no longer a prison, it was a symbol of what humanity had the power to create. In the end, the humans had not only liberated themselves, they had liberated the galaxy from the tyranny of the Galactic Council. The message was clear: underestimate humans, and you will pay the price. And for the first time, the galaxy understood one undeniable truth: humans did not fear hell, they created it.